Okay, what's wrong with flying V's? I had promised to make this video at the end of What's Wrong with Flying Wings, which is a good video if you're interested to know what's wrong with flying wings. It was a while ago and I had some health problems in the meantime. So let's talk about the good stuff. I'm pretty much going to be talking about Gibson flying V's, and what I have to say about that is they sound fine. I like them just fine. No problems. The string scale, string spacing, neck shape, etc. are all good. And depending on who you ask, it was designed either by Seth Lover or Ted McCarty, although I believe Ted McCarty said that Seth Lover came up with it. And as I understand it, and this is from a long time ago, it started off as a flying wedge. And of course, I don't mean the football flying wedge of the turn of the last century. I'm talking about a great big wedge-shaped guitar, which, as I understand, weighed a ton, and that wasn't going to fly. So they cut away the inside part to make it into a flying V. And supposedly Seth Lover also is the one who came up with the term flying V. Seth Lover, by the way, was the person who designed and invented the Gibson humbucking pickup, which of course has gone on to greatness through the years. Another good thing about the Flying V is that it will stand on its own, up against an amp or a dresser or a wall. Of course, it can fall over flat on its face, which is not good, but any guitar can fall flat on its face. They were used originally by Lonnie Mack, got some of the first ones, and Albert King, way back when. Let's see, Lonnie Mack put a Bigsby tailpiece on the thing, and this was not stock. Of course, since then, Gibson has gone on to make a Lonnie Mack model with the same modification. Albert King was left-handed, and he just turned it around backwards anyway, like Jimi Hendrix. Who else? Wishbone Ash comes to mind. And numerous other heavy metal and whatnot bands have used them. The original Flying V was introduced in 1958, and they made less than 100 of them. They were made from African Limba, which had the trade name Corina. These guitars were a failure and eventually ended up being used mostly by store owners in their window displays to attract customers. In 1967, the Flying V was reintroduced by Gibson with a somewhat cheaper construction and distinguished by pickups that are mounted in the pickguard instead of having their own pickup mounting rings. These guitars also have a different pickguard and tailpiece. The pickguard goes on the upper wing in addition to the lower wing. In 1979, Gibson came out with the V2, which had scalloped out sides and funny-looking pickups, and stayed there for a few years. In 2007, Gibson came out with a reverse Flying V that was totally backwards, and they didn't make very many of those either. The Gibson Modern Flying V showed up in 2018, and I think I have the least amount of problems with this particular design. There was also something called the Thunderbolt that was an April Fool's joke that was featured in a British magazine and was made up from a cheap copy that was sawed down the middle, and the top bout was switched around backwards to make a Thunderbolt design. Years later, Gibson actually produced this thing, and they made very few of those as well. And by the way, the Thunderbolt made for the magazine article had a neck that was just loosely screwed on and was completely unplayable. So what's wrong with Gibson Flying V's, you say? Well, it's my own personal preference and opinion that no guitar should have a symmetrical shape. That the top of the guitar and the bottom of the guitar have different functions. On the good side, Flying V's are not trying to look like an acoustic guitar, like some guitars I've seen. One problem I have getting it into playing position is that the end pin location can't be on the center line of the guitar, which is too close to the bridge saddle. And that's no good. Even Gibson doesn't try to do that. So they put the end pin, the strap peg, way out on the tip of the upper horn. And I, for one, do not like the way that hangs. The top half of a solid body guitar is supposed to be friendly to your forearm and keep your picking hand in position comfortably. In my book, the correct position for your picking hand is to hold the pick parallel with the strings. If you have your guitar strapped too low, this becomes more and more difficult. When I have the Flying V strapped up in my proper position, it slants the guitar outward, which is, again, not a good angle to be picking from. The bottom half of the guitar is supposed to hold the neck in place while you're sitting down. And playing with the Flying V sitting down is damn near impossible, even though the original had this joke rubber strip that's supposed to grip your leg. There's not much chance of that. Now, some people put the lower wing in between their legs, and this movie clip pretty much sums up my idea on this thing.
Take that big fiddle out from between your legs. There are ladies present. But sir, I don't want no trouble. You just tuck it up under your chin the way a fiddle's supposed to be played. Now.
Yes, sir. Now, sir.
That's good.
In my book, the Flying V is a pathetic cry for help, for guitarists seeking all the attention they can get. But my daughter thinks they look cool. So, there you have it.